Welcome to Moments in History channel. Imagine a small tribe of nomadic warriors perched on the edge of Anatolia, looking out at a world dominated by giants. This is where our story begins, around the year 1299, with a leader named Osman I. From this humble start, his people, the Ottomans, would forge one of the most powerful and enduring empires the world has ever seen. How did they do it? How did a small principality grow to rule over 3 continents for over 600 years? Join me as we unravel the epic saga of the Ottoman Empire. The early Ottomans were masters of opportunity. They were positioned at a crossroads of civilizations, right between Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. This strategic location was a double-edged sword. It meant constant conflict, but it also meant access to new ideas, technologies, and vital trade routes. The Ottomans didn't just survive, they thrived. Their secret weapon was a combination of military genius and innovative governance. Early on, they understood the power of a professional, disciplined army. At the heart of their military machine were the Janissaries, an elite infantry unit that was truly ahead of its time. These soldiers were recruited as young boys from Christian families in the Balkans, converted to Islam, and trained to be fiercely loyal only to the Sultan. They were a standing army, drilled year-round, at a time when most European monarchs relied on feudal lords to raise temporary forces. This gave the Ottomans a massive advantage on the battlefield. But it wasn't just about manpower. The Ottomans were early adopters of gunpowder. While European knights were still clashing in heavy armor, Ottoman cannons were blasting down fortress walls. This technological edge was a game-changer, allowing them to conquer cities and territories that had seemed impenetrable for centuries. Their expansion was relentless. They swept through the Balkans, pushing deeper and deeper into southeast Europe, while also consolidating their power in Anatolia. Then came the moment that would shake the world and forever cement the Ottoman legacy. The year is 1453. For over 1,000 years, the city of Constantinople had stood as the capital of the Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of ancient Rome. It was a legendary fortress, the queen of cities, believed to be unconquerable. But a young, ambitious sultan named Mehmed II had his sights set on it. Mehmed was a brilliant strategist and engineer. He commissioned the construction of massive cannons, a new superweapon capable of shattering Constantinople's famed Theodosian walls. The siege was an epic undertaking. In a move of pure military genius, when the Byzantine defenders blocked the Golden Horn waterway with a giant chain, Mehmed simply had his ships dragged overland on greased logs to bypass it. After a grueling 53-day siege, the city fell. The fall of Constantinople was a seismic event. It marked the definitive end of the Byzantine Empire and the Middle Ages. For the Ottomans, it was their crowning achievement. Mehmed the Conqueror rode into the city, not as a destroyer, but as a new master. He made Constantinople his capital, renaming it Istanbul, and began transforming it into the vibrant heart of a new global empire. The Hagia Sophia, the great cathedral of Orthodox Christianity, was converted into a mosque, a powerful symbol of the new order. The conquest established the Ottomans as the dominant power in the eastern Mediterranean and a force that Europe could no longer ignore. With Istanbul as their capital, the Ottomans entered a golden age. The 16th century, in particular, is defined by the reign of one man, Suleiman the Magnificent. Ruling from 1520 to 1566, his era is considered the absolute peak of Ottoman power, prestige, and prosperity. Suleiman was a formidable military commander, leading his armies on 13 major campaigns. He pushed the empire's borders to their furthest extent. In the west, his forces laid siege to Vienna, striking fear into the heart of Europe. In the east, he clashed with the Safavid Empire of Persia, capturing Baghdad. In the south, Ottoman control extended across North Africa and down the coast of the Red Sea, securing the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. Under Suleiman, the Ottoman Empire wasn't just a military juggernaut, it was a sophisticated, well-run state. Suleiman was known as the lawgiver by his own people. He reformed the legal system, creating a comprehensive code of laws that harmonized traditional Islamic law with secular administrative law. This legal framework would endure for centuries, ensuring stability and justice across his vast and diverse territories. And diverse it was. The empire was a true melting pot of cultures, religions, and ethnicities. It was home to Turks, Arabs, Persians, Greeks, Serbs, Bulgarians, Armenians, Jews, and many more. How did the Ottomans manage such a complex society? A key part of their success was the millet system. This was a form of religious self-governance. Each major religious community, like the Greek Orthodox Christians, the Armenian Christians, and the Jews, was recognized as a millet, or nation. These millets were allowed to use their own language, establish their own schools, and live according to their own religious laws. They were led by their own religious leaders, who were responsible for their communities and answered directly to the Sultan. While non-Muslims paid a special tax and had some restrictions, this system allowed for a remarkable degree of religious tolerance and coexistence, especially when compared to the religious wars tearing Europe apart at the time. This cultural fusion gave rise to a spectacular artistic and architectural boom. Ottoman culture was a rich blend of its Turkish, Islamic, Persian, and Byzantine heritage. This is most visibly expressed in their architecture. The great imperial mosques that dominate Istanbul's skyline are masterpieces of engineering and art. The most famous architect of the era, Mimar Sinan, served under Suleiman and designed over 300 major structures, including the magnificent Suleimaniye Mosque. These buildings, with their vast domes, soaring minarets, and intricate tilework, are a breathtaking testament to the wealth and confidence of the empire. Art, poetry, music, and science flourished in the imperial court, making Istanbul one of the world's great cultural centers. But no empire lasts forever. Even at its height, the seeds of decline were being sown. From the 17th century onwards, the tide began to turn. The era of rapid, easy expansion was over. The Ottomans started to face military setbacks. The failed Second Siege of Vienna in 1683 is often seen as a major turning point. The empire was now on the defensive against rising European powers like the Habsburgs of Austria and the expanding Russian Empire. The military defeats were a symptom of deeper problems. The Janissary Corps, once the empire's strength, became a source of instability. They grew so powerful that they could interfere in politics, even deposing sultans. Their military discipline declined, and they resisted reforms that threatened their privileged position. Economically, the empire was also struggling. New sea routes to Asia discovered by the Europeans bypassed the traditional overland trade routes that the Ottomans controlled, depriving them of a crucial source of revenue. The influx of silver from the Americas caused massive inflation, disrupting the economy. Internally, the empire was strained by corruption and weak leadership. After Suleiman, a series of less capable sultans came to the throne. The vast and complex bureaucracy became inefficient. At the same time, nationalist ideas began to spread from Europe into the Ottoman Empire's diverse territories in the 19th century. Ethnic groups in the Balkans, like the Greeks, Serbs, and Romanians, began to demand independence, leading to a series of wars and rebellions that chipped away at the empire's European lands. The Ottoman leadership wasn't blind to these problems. The 19th century was an era of intense reform, known as the Tanzimat. Sultans and ministers tried to modernize the state, the military, and the economy along Western European lines. They introduced a new constitution, created a modern university, and built railways and telegraph lines. But these efforts were often too little. They were resisted by conservatives and failed to stop the rise of nationalism or the interference of European powers, who dubbed the empire the sick man of Europe and eagerly carved out spheres of influence for themselves. The final blow came with the First World War. The Ottoman Empire made the fateful decision to side with Germany and the Central Powers. The war was a disaster. The empire fought on multiple fronts: in the Caucasus against Russia, in Mesopotamia against the British, and in the disastrous Gallipoli campaign. The war exhausted its resources and led to immense suffering and loss of life. After 4 years of brutal conflict, the Ottoman Empire was on the losing side. The victorious Allied powers moved to dismantle the empire completely. Its territories in the Middle East were carved up and handed over to Britain and France. The Turkish heartland of Anatolia itself was occupied and partitioned. But this sparked a fierce resistance. Led by a brilliant army officer named Mustafa Kemal, a Turkish nationalist movement rose up to fight for independence. They drove out the occupying forces in a bitter war of independence. In 1922, in the wake of this victory, the new nationalist government made a monumental decision. They officially abolished the Ottoman Sultanate, ending over 600 years of imperial rule. The last sultan was sent into exile, and a year later, the Republic of Turkey was declared, with Mustafa Kemal, later known as Ataturk, or Father of the Turks, as its first president. The Ottoman Empire was no more. Today, the legacy of the Ottomans is all around us. It's in the borders of many modern countries in the Balkans, the Middle East, and North Africa. It's in the stunning architecture of Istanbul, the rich cuisine that blends influences from 3 continents, and the complex cultural and religious tapestry of the region. The story of the Ottoman Empire is a powerful reminder of how a small group of people can change the world, and how even the mightiest empires eventually come to an end, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape our world in countless ways. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey through history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe to Moments in History channel for more deep dives into the empires that shaped our past. Let us know in the comments which empire you'd like to see us cover next. See you in the next video.